Hello. And normally this would be the after show afterthoughts. But because of the weather, Blog Talk Radio is having difficulties. So Randy Flood, my guest, there he is, my longtime friend, and I are going to be on the webinar talking to you. And hopefully those of you have gone back to Facebook, seen this, and then you can click on the link and join us. If not, you'll listen to our conversation that we're going to have this evening. So here we are at this on the show on thoughts for Lynnie Godfrey Straight No Chaser. And so let me tell you a little bit about my guest, because normally you don't get a chance to see him. Normally I say everything about him, and then I say, then he comes on the radio or she comes on the radio. But right now I am going to talk about Randy Flood. I want to talk first about some of his credits because that's important. I think you all should know that he has a duality in his career. He has worked very, very hard mentoring young people. So there is a long experience of him doing vocal coaching and acting through the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration, through the City of New York City, Parks and Recreation in Brooklyn. He's been a theater consultant, all of those things. And there is another career that I'm going to talk to you about, but I'm going to go to the theatrical career first. And then there's this theatrical career, which I see right now has in it the credit of what Harlem Hayden, the national tour, which is the show in which Randy and I first met 150 years ago.
Yes.
And we did that for Voices Incorporated. And we're going to talk about Voices Incorporated. But all the way through that, you have really done so many things, Randy. You've worked at the New Federal Theater. You worked on national tour. You went to the Starlight Theater in Kansas City. Yes. And you know what I did there? Oh gosh, with Georgia Engel. Yes. Uh, um, uh, I can't remember the name of the show. There must be something better than this. They'll, everybody will write me in and tell me. But actually, the bracelet that I wear all the time right now is from Georgia Engel. It's a Tiffany present that she gave us where I played Helene. And in that wonderful musical that we did at the Starlight, in Kansas City. There we go.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. And then I see that you were in The Wiz.
Right.
Yes, the gatekeeper.
Yeah, and a couple other things too.
Yes, I guess.
We'll talk about that.
Yes, and of course I see UB.
Did you see where we did it at? Black
Yes, I do. I do. And I know Carl. Yes.
I know. I'll tell you a story about that.
I can't wait. Okay. I mean, really, I can't. Sweet Charity. Thank you. Oh, if I didn't remember that. Okay. Sweet Charity. Good. And then you did Black Nativity.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Oh, Shirley Black Brown and James Paul directed it, and Hattie Winston.
Hattie Winston. Fabulous. Just fabulous. Now those two are connected to a certain kind of art. And then you've become this entrepreneur, right. I believe, and have started this business. And it's close to my heart because, of course, my mother had a business like this. And it's the catering business that we want to talk about. And I really do want to talk about that. But first, I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you to familiarize the audience and myself on your background. So, Randy, born and raised in New York City or not?
No, I was really born in Michigan, and right outside of Detroit, Mount Clemens. And then we moved to Detroit when I was a little baby. And I did like until the first grade in Detroit, and then we moved to Battle Creek, Michigan. That's where I'm,
Okay.
home
Okay.
of Kellogg's, best you each morning
Yes.
kind of thing
Yes.
going.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Factory town.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that's where I went to junior high, grade school, junior
Mm-hmm.
high,
Mm-hmm.
high school in that little town, that little
And what
factory
got
town.
you to New York then?
Get the hell out of Michigan. Okay.
So that was the ticket, huh? That was it.
Yeah,
That was
well,
it.
in theater, I went to school in Grand Valley. It's now a university. When I was there, it was called Grand Valley State College.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school there and was a music major.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having so much fun. I mean, the first year I got to school there, they had a lot of money for a lot of programs back then because they were trying to include everybody
Yes.
and throw money
Inclusiveness.
around.
Yes.
Include, right,
Yes.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in, this is for my first year in college, right? First semester, I became vice president of the Black Student Coalition because
I
Willie
believe that.
Farnham was a good friend. I knew him, and then he had to leave campus real quick. So I became, hello, I became president. And
Wait a
back
minute.
then,
It's about that real quick.
yeah.
It's about real quick.
So next thing
Okay.
I know,
I
I'm
don't want to
president.
talk about nobody's business, but real quick. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I had a ball there. I had a budget of like $20,000. So I would do things like, that's where I first met Voices Incorporated.
Really?
I
I was
hired
going to
them to,
ask you that. Well, but before, wait, let me just ask you. You are now in Michigan, you're in school, you're in grade school. Is there anybody in your family that had a theatrical background, that had musical background, that encouraged you during those years before you got to college? Before we get, because I know we'll get to voices in a minute, but before that, was there anybody in your family, siblings,
um,
parental?
not like that. I mean, we could do whatever we needed to do as kids and stuff. My sister was in show business for a while when she was trying to come to New York, but
Uh-huh.
but I only had one uncle who embarrassed the hell out of me once. Told us he was going to be on Johnny Carson singing this little song he's supposed to have had out. Had me go to my neighbor's house because they had a color TV with one of my white neighbors late at night talking about my uncle gonna be on Johnny Carson. You know that he never showed up.
No.
He was a mess, my Uncle Duke.
We all had one Uncle Duke. Everybody
Right.
has had an Uncle Duke.
But he was the one in show business. But no, he didn't
But
do
that,
anything.
that wasn't the influence. No.
No. But
Okay. Okay.
my grandmother gave me some good advice,
Mhm.
whom I love very dearly.
Yes.
We used to sit and watch TV, and she used to complain about why did everyone when they sing look like they're in pain? I said, okay, I got you. Don't do that. I said, I feel you, Graham. Yes.
I mean, I think what is really quite wonderful is that if you were smart enough and while you were young to listen to the elders in your family and you recall what they told you, you realize the simplicity of their honesty.
Mm-hmm.
They were like children. Children when they think there's something ugly, they go, "Oh, that's not
Ooh.
pretty. That's ugly." And you'd be thinking you are styling down. I
Looking
mean,
fabulous.
like, "Oh, that looks ugly." No, I wouldn't wear
Mhm.
that. Was you? I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, kids are
But
real.
yes, but when we get older, we also go back to that honesty. In between, we
Right.
adapt this thing where we have to be politically correct,
And we
and
try to
so
please everybody.
yes. But when you're young and you're old, you don't care.
No. Ain't
So
got no
that's
time.
what is it to sing like somebody has stuck you with a pin?
Yeah, why don't do that? That don't look good. Oh yeah.
So that was the advice then that you got that before
Mm.
you left and came to New York. Now you finished school there. What did you major in school? What did you,
Music
okay,
in music,
voice or
vocal music, yeah.
mm-hmm. All right.
And I had to I I was so busy in school back then, you know. I mean, I didn't have time for class. I was running around. I had programs that I was running out of one of the local penitentiaries nearby where I went in and taught a little music and stuff and I was doing like, putting together little shows because
Shows.
I had a theater I could use. I had uh,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
a
mm-hmm,
budget I could
mm-hmm,
do. And
mm-hmm.
so I was busy doing stuff. And they said,
Sick of
mm-mm.
you. Randy Foot. All right. So when does Voices Incorporated come into?
First was at Grand Valley when I was there
Really?
because
Really?
back then, they have these conventions like in Chicago where a lot of groups that do college things, these are people who want to get on that college circuit.
Yes,
You
the
come
college
in and you
circuit.
do like 15 minutes of your
Mhm.
little, and all the people from all the colleges and all the universities come
They're
by,
there. Yeah,
and
exactly.
you
They
get hired
still
to
do
come to
though.
their
They
places.
still do all of that today. They do that
Right,
today.
right.
Yes, sure, sure, sure.
Well,
Mhm.
remember, I was president of Black Student Code.
So you were there to see.
What was happening because what we could and I saw Voices Incorporated, and I remembered them because there was this one album in the library in Battle Creek, Michigan. I used to go to the library all the time, okay, when I was a little kid, and there was this album that was called The Believers
Mhm,
that
mhm.
I wore that out. You could take an album home. I wore that album out because it was all this journey from Africa to, it was not Harlem Heyday,
I'll
but the
hit it.
journey into blackness,
Yes,
the other
Journey
thing
into
that we did.
Blackness. Yes, yes.
So, and I just wore that album out. So I knew all the songs from and when I got there and they did that, I said, wait a minute. So I had them come to my university, and
Now,
that's when I
do you
first met.
remember who was in the company then? Do you remember Jesse?
Yes.
Was
And they all
Jesse?
became my closest friends
No,
when I got to New
Was
York years
Jesse.
later.
Yes, was Jesse in the company then?
Jesse DeVore, you talking about?
Yes,
Yes.
Jesse and Josephine, wasn't Josephine?
Josephine wasn't in it, I don't think, at that time, but I can tell you who other cast members were.
Who?
Remember Grinaldo Frazier?
No, you know what? I missed Grinaldo. I know
I
everyone who
know you missed
loved
Grinaldo.
Grinaldo. Yes, yes.
Ricky Powell.
Oh, yes, yes. Know the name. Don't know. Don't, yes.
Okay, Vanita Evans.
Bonita. Yes, she's very good friends with friends of mine. Yes,
Right, mine. Yes.
yes.
Annie Joe Edwards.
Annie Joe. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Dwight Cook.
Oh, Dwight. Well, yes, I remember Dwight was. I was working with Dwight. I worked with Dwight. Yes, who's
Right,
fabulous now, directing and everything. Yes.
right. And Bessie Carter.
No, I don't know Bessie.
Oh yeah, Benny Carter was her husband at the time. He was a incredible musician
Yes, yes, I know Benny.
and
Yes,
musical director. He
yes.
worked a lot with voices back then and a lot of other things,
Mm-hmm,
who passed way too soon. But
mm-hmm,
Bessie was in it. And those people that I just named,
mm-hmm.
those that are still with us, we're still friends.
Well, yeah, there's something about
That's what
that
theater does.
organization. There are certain groups that the UB group and the Voices group, the people that I knew, and I don't see. I mean, that's why I was so glad
Right,
to see you at
right.
Jelly's Last Jam, because it's been decades since we've seen each other.
I
Not
know.
that I don't, not that I um, didn't want to communicate, but the life, it just takes you so many different places.
Baby,
So,
ain't that the truth?
you want to go, okay, now where did they go? But you could, it's like, oh, I just missed them. You mean Randy was here? He was doing this, I think a lot of I just read on Facebook that my dear Christopher Durang. Now, this I knew Christopher before I knew you. Christopher Durang was a wonderful writer, passed away. When I graduated from Hunter, I worked for theater for the New City, and the first play I ever did was Nature and Purpose of the Universe by Christopher Durang with Annie DeSalvo. Annie and I have been friends all of these years. And
Yes.
you don't oh, wait a minute, let me just say, let me just tell someone, we are getting people who are emailing me that they can't get on.
Oh yeah, try to
Yes,
fix it for
let me just say, tell you to go to the link that is on Facebook because Blog Talk is having difficulty. And we are talking on the webinar, Randy Flood and myself. Period. Now, we should get some people coming in now because I knew that they don't, they're just texting me and I'm like, but I'm talking to Randy.
I know, but they just now pull it all together.
Yes. So those people,
Those relationships.
those relationships, the name Bernice.
Oh. Now see why, ooh, baby. Can we talk about her for a moment? Because
It's been a
that's
very long time. I learned so much from her. I have tears in my eyes to think about.
that's old school. That is that woman was incredible. First of all, she was a diva.
Oh,
When she
before
was
the
traveling
divas,
around
before
on the road
everybody
with that,
saw, with all that name and that. First of all, I don't know anybody who could get up. Wait, first of all, I'm sick of all of you all because you all knew that Bernice snored, and you all knew that when I went on tour, the first thing you said, "Oh, you can room with Bernice. Bernice is just great. She's wonderful." I got in there and I got all my stuff, and the first night I went,
uh-oh.
oh, but here's the tea. Then she gets up and she can hit a high C at 7 o'clock in the morning,
Oh
6:30,
yeah.
7 o'clock in the morning. Just
Oh,
nothing.
definitely.
I said, well, Bernice, what? And she showed me how to do it because we used to do that. Remember that African call that we used to do at the very beginning?
Abby
Uh,
yo-yo, Abby
yo,
yo-yo,
yo, yes. And she'd
Abby
be,
yo-yo. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, all the way up there. And I'm like, this
Oh,
early in the morning? I'm the
yeah.
warming up in the shower. And I'm
Yes.
like,
And she was 50 something back then.
yes, yes, she was. Yes,
50
I was,
something.
yes, I was trying to think where she was then because, and she knew, she said, oh no, darling, we're not going to room all the way, but for the first few times we're going to room because the hotels were expensive. And anyone who worked for Voices knows they paid you, but you had to pay for where you stayed. And if you
Right.
were smart, you stayed at some places that were safe, that were great, but you wanted to send your money home.
Right.
But the first couple of places were expensive. And so we shared, and I shared with Bernice, and I learned so much.
Right.
I would actually vocally mimic her, which strengthened my head part.
Yeah.
All, I mean, I could get up then and vocalize with her and all of that stuff. It was wonderful, Bernice.
You could learn. I learned so much from her also because, she came from Flower Drum Song,
Yes,
Finian's Rainbow.
Rainbow,
She was in the
Necessity. I
original cast.
remember.
She was in the Broadway cast of the original cast of these
Yes,
things.
she was
She
with
was
Burton
great.
Lane. I remember talking about her to when I worked with Burton Lane. Yes,
All those greats from back in those days that she was right with them. Those were
yes, she
her
was.
friends and
Yes,
stuff.
they
All
were.
those ones, especially those ones that did Bubbling Brown Sugar that they
Sugar.
brought back later on. Honey
Yes,
Coles and all those
all
level
of
of
them.
people.
She knew all of them.
Those were her contemporaries.
Yes, yes.
That's
And
yeah,
I mean, but she held the Bible for Voices for a long time.
yeah.
If you were there and you're a young person, she's the one who told you what the rules and regulations were.
Yes,
She kind
yes,
of mapped out what your behavior was.
right.
She, you know, I remember we would be on tour and we would drive from what after a gig, you go to the next gig and then you went to sleep. But
Yes.
sometimes it was, we're going in the night after the show and you're tired and you want the van or wherever we were in to be warm. And she said, "Oh, no, 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 no. The driver has
Has
to
to
stay
stay
awake.
awake.
So you all get your coats and put your coats on." She would sit up front with the driver
Yes.
and talk to
You
them. And
you
Bo
better
was
tell
the
it.
driver. Bo, who is in
Do you
Asia
remember
now.
him?
Yes,
You
he's
remember
in
him?
Asia now. He talks to me on Facebook all the time.
Oh my God.
Bo, yes. Bo was our driver, and he's married and he's a grandfather now.
Okay.
And yes, and I remember that
Oh
time when
my,
she said, "No, no, no, he can't go to sleep. No, no,
yeah.
no, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no.
You all put your coats on and
Right?
you all can go." And she didn't go to sleep. And I was like with one
No.
eye, well, looking at her,
No,
and
because someone has to stay awake.
yeah,
She's like that.
yeah.
I used to drive too. You got a penny a mile.
Did you?
You got a penny a mile. Do you hear me? We would, and dragging that, we'd have that van and then hitched up to a little thing that had the
Something,
drums and all the
all
little
of that things.
outfits and stuff in there. We was
So
gypsies.
when you came to New York, is that the first contact that you had when you
Well, I
came?
came to New York to go to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
I see. I
That's
see.
where I came to New York in 74.
Okay, okay.
And I came to the Academy, and that was the first time the Academy, there were 13 Blacks in the Academy. Baby, we terrorized those kids. All right. Because
Yeah.
and I'm still, like Gail Turner,
Yes. Yes.
Robert Gossett.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's Mimi Strum and Lola Louis and Robert. And there was all this. And we did our 2 years. I was arrogant back then, honey. I was, the Academy, you have to be asked back to the second year.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
my little arrogant ass, I went there, after you did all your, what do you call it when you do your little plays at the end? There's a word
Well, your
for it.
show, it's almost like your showcase,
Little
your
showcase for the,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the little trials or whatever. Now, and then they're supposed to write you in the summer to let you know if you're going to be coming back or not. Well,
Yes.
after I did my final little things,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the head of the place and I said, listen, the only way I'm coming back here next year is you got to pay for this. Okay.
No.
Oh, yeah. And they did. But I'm telling
Oh, now, oh gosh, I'm freezing. I'm freezing.
you.
Okay, now you're back. I got frozen. I got frozen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, but it says that my internet is a little unstable. This weather is
It's
interfering. I see
jumping
we
in.
have some guests, and I just want to welcome one of, I think, somebody that that's one of the guests that's here. I don't recognize a couple of the names, but I do recognize one name. Hello, Franz Jones.
Oh, Franz.
Franz Jones. Would you like to, Franz Jones, say hello to Randy? I can allow you to speak. Hold on. I don't know. Franz, you
Yeah.
can speak now. Would you like to say hello to Randy?
Can you hear me?
Sure
Yes.
can.
Yes, you have the wrong passcode.
Ah, do I?
Yes, you have 84797. I figured it out. It's 83797.
Oh, Lord. Okay, I can change it now. I can change it
Yeah,
now.
because
So,
that took a long time for me to figure it out. Hello, Randy Flood.
Hey, baby, I'm glad you figured it out.
Yes.
mhm.
How are you?
I'm real good. You see, I'm over here talking with Lynnie. Well, you will in a moment. We're having a good time.
Yes, I would listen to a piece of it when I finally got in. But it was
Mhm.
Okay.
something because I couldn't get into Blog Talk Radio. And
Well, neither could we. Neither could we.
I couldn't get into the webinar either.
Mm,
Um,
mhm, mhm.
because, well, not the webinar. I tried Blog Talk from Facebook first. It wouldn't let me in.
Right.
Then I
Mhm.
finally got your email, Lynnie, but I wasn't able to get in, and I kept doing the password. And I finally said, let me just take one of the sevens out.
I put
Took
4
one of the
sevens
sevens.
and it's only 3 sevens.
3 sevens.
Ah.
Okay,
And I
okay.
finally was able to get in.
I will fix
Yeah.
that now that you're talking. Somebody else's. Yes, okay. Oh, okay, all right. Let me fix it because I just got something with somebody else. I can't get in. Okay. Why don't you two talk for one moment? So
Right, Franz.
how do you two know each other, Franz, you and Randy?
Well, I'll let you want to tell it, or should I say?
We like the original crew. This is the foundation of everything.
Yeah, I was
From the
involved
VIP Corral.
at VIP Corral with Annie Joe.
Annie
Right.
Jo.
We used to meet at Annie Joe's and rehearse on, what was it, Mondays, I think.
I think
If I
so.
remember correctly, Mondays. That's how I met you.
Right, right.
And
But we
through
knew each other
Angelo,
through auditioning
Grinaldo.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, Grinaldo and
Right.
Randy Flood. And I mean, you're Randy Flood, what I'm saying. You who else?
Dwight Cook,
Yes. Benita Evans.
Benita Evans, that whole
Um,
thing.
right. Carmen Lott.
Oh, yes, Carmen.
Carmen.
Carmen did voices.
Yes.
Did
I wasn't
she?
in voices though.
I know
never
you
was
weren't in voices. I don't
I wasn't in voices. I met everybody after they came back from the road, but got to
Right.
know a lot of the people that had been in voices.
Right.
So, but and that's how I got to know Randy, and we all hung out together for a while. Dale Shields was involved.
Oh, yeah. Jeffrey.
Yep.
Jeffrey Thompson.
Jeffrey too.
Jeffrey was there for a little bit. Jeffrey was Jeffrey was working more.
Now that was in the corral,
Right.
yes?
Yes. Jeffrey worked more than the rest of us, so Jeffrey wasn't there very long.
Right, that boy did stay busy.
I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah.
Marianne.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Marianne.
And let's not forget Diane Wilson.
Well, then
Diane.
Diane, yes.
I talked to Diane yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Priscilla
I
Baskerville.
touched with Diane on Sunday for the holiday. I sent her a note. She got back.
Yeah, I talked to her yesterday, Diane.
Yeah, with Diane, Priscilla Baskerville.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I almost forgot Cliff Terry.
Cliff Terry. That's right.
I don't know Cliff Terry. No.
Cliff played the piano.
Yeah, he was in all the major black churches in Brooklyn and Manhattan.
You know what?
Marianne's last name was
know.
Alda. She was on the soap for a while.
Yes,
right.
Yes, Marianne.
Alda.
You know, I don't think that people know what we're talking about is a bit of Black theater history.
Woo.
Both the chorale and
Right.
voices.
Right.
This is Black theater history. This was really the very beginning of when as they call it, when Broadway got Black. For a while, Broadway really was reviving the theatrical community because it was not doing well. And then there were a number of Black productions. Don't bother me, I can't cope. What is it? I always a badass song. Melvin Van Peebles, both of his plays.
Sweet,
right.
Yes. But it wasn't Sweet Sweetback. It was that was on Broadway. The
other thing was on Broadway. Don't Play Us Cheap.
Don't Play Us Cheap. Yes,
oui.
yes. And he had another one. He had 2 plays on Broadway.
Yeah, he had that, and he had the one Ain't Supposed to Die Natural.
Natural Death. Then there was Raisin, and Pearly. At Pearly. It just went on and on and on and on, so that there was a plethora of wonderful shows for people to get trained in these chorales, in voices, and then go up and then expose your talents in it. It was my audition song for UB was I'm Just Wild About Harry. And you know how I used to sing that in Harlem heyday.
What? Yes, ma'am.
And they said, well, do you know this song? I went, oh, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But of course, and then to be able to develop a relationship with UB Blake, you know.
That would have been.
it was to have he and Marion at my wedding, and it was to be a part of it. Well, Franz knows all about that too. He gets sick of all my stories. Correct, Franz?
No, not at all.
But what we're talking about is history. And I don't think that a lot of the young people really know our stories here. So I really think how important it is for us to really kind of chronicleize it through oral history, pass on that there were groups of people who had to survive in the theater. It was a different kind it wasn't a Chitlin circuit. It was, I know this wasn't, because we played for the voices, did the Deltas, the AKA, the Lynx. I mean, yes, Urban League, we played for the creme de la creme of them. And they invited the groups year after year after year. They invited them back again and again and again. So it was, and the kind of discipline that was taught in rehearsal, what your behavior was to be like, what you were to look like, what you were to do, all of those things. Very, very, very important. I remember I was talking to Celeste Bedford Walker, who is a playwright who did Greenwood, An American Dream Destroyed. And we're talking about, Tulsa, the whole Tulsa. And I was telling her about my experience doing, I remember Bernice was not going to be there or something. And I had to do butter beans and soup.
On Susie. Yes.
What an incredible experience in comedic timing. That kind of thing was. It's an artistry. Now a lot of people would say, oh, well, we don't do that kind of thing anymore. It's in its entity, you have to understand what it represented. It represented an art form. And it was special timing. It was all those things to make that. And then we were commenting on it because it wasn't our history. It was characterizations.
Exactly.
And that's what you have to really realize at one point in time. What were characterizations, or what people decide that they want to believe is their reality.
Exactly.
So it's a very interesting thing. But I'm going to keep on going now because I've got the both of you here. I'm very excited because I can talk to both. Whenever I could hear Franz saying, sweet charity, when I couldn't remember what I did. Franz, did you hear me?
Yes, I just heard you, yes.
No, did you hear me when I couldn't remember Sweet Charity?
No, I didn't hear that part.
No, because Randy had played Starlight, the Starlight Theater in Kansas City, and I played it with Georgia Engel, being Helene. And I couldn't remember. I said, we've got to be something better than this. I'm doing the ography now because it was that, and I couldn't remember Sweet Charity. And I could hear Franz saying, Sweet Charity, if you had heard me do that. Am I not correct, Franz?
Yeah, I would have said Sweet Charity.
Yes, thank you very much. So now, Randy, let's get back, because this is exciting to me. So that group, to name all of those people.
We're still missing a few.
Yeah, there's a lot that are missing.
Like for the Voices crew, were you there with Wendell Morrison?
Wendell Morrison, who had
that
the
boy could
voice
sing.
of life.
He still does.
He has the voice. Well, I said had. He has the voice of life. He went on. Wasn't he behind Boy George
and also, and he went over there to Europe. He was living in Amsterdam for a while.
Yes.
And they were doing that for a long time.
Yes.
And but he's back here in the United States, and I just reconnected with him after like 10 years recently. I saw his sister at a party.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I remember his sister. Yes.
Yeah, I'm an old house head, so I still go to house parties with my old ass. Okay.
I know.
Thank you.
Speaking of sisters, how is yours?
My sister?
Yes, Dee Dee.
Oh, Dee Dee's good. She lives out in Vegas. She's
been
living out there in Vegas, she loves it out there, and she's good.
I like to go and visit, but I can't stay too long.
Ooh, not more than 2 or 3 days is enough.
It's warm. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I enjoy performing there though, because I'm probably one of the only people, I don't get the dry throat. I don't get it.
Oh, okay.
And so I can, yeah. But I like Vegas. I like Vegas as long as I can make my money and not give it to them. Yes.
That's the
There you go.
ticket.
Yes, the key.
Okay.
That's the key. That's the key. Oh, well, all right. So now you're beginning to work for Voices. How long did you work with
For
them,
Voices,
Randy?
like, what would happen with Voices, you would work for them for a while, then you get sick of them. Or you got tired of, like, remember how a lot of times with Voices, you were out on the road and you'd have to boycott those guys and say, send me my money or there's no show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
You got us out here in
that's the life
California.
on the road. That's life in show business.
That's show business life. Okay. So people would always come back, like Irene Datcher. She did Voices.
Irene Thatcher. I haven't heard that name.
Oh, I haven't heard that name
Okay.
in a long time.
Oh yeah, I just talked to her the other day.
Did
Really?
you? Oh gosh, Randy, you really do keep in contact.
Where is she?
She lives down there in DC area, which
She
is
is
where
back
she's
in
from.
Washington. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's from Washington. I know.
She went home to take care of her mother, who just recently passed not too long.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
But
Tell her I said hello.
oh, I will. And her daughter's getting married soon, and this summer. So,
Oh, how wonderful! Look at that. Look at now. Let me see. Who else? Who else did we miss from Voices before we move on? Now.
all right, Voices.
Well, there's Sheila K. Davis.
Right.
Yes, Sheila.
Right, Sheila, who's she's got her theater and doing her
Yes,
thing.
and wonderful producer now. Wonderful.
Right.
I remember Wendell married Mary.
Yes, Marion passed. So
yes, she did. Yes, she did. I was told to. Yes, she passed.
And that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Okay, and they went to Europe together. They were in
Amsterdam. They were good for one another.
Yeah, I remember when she did her film.
Yes.
Amacita, the Desolato.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I only remember it because she gave me the soundtrack album, which I think I have around.
Fine. Better say, see, I love that just for this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're saying names and people that these names haven't been spoken in a while. At least
she and Sheila were roommates. When I first met them, they were both roommates. And they lived not far from me. I lived on 28th Street. And they were, I want to say 21st, 22nd, somewhere, but they were down. I could walk to their place. I would walk down 2nd Avenue to where they were.
Okay.
That's a long time ago.
There was also another soprano, Cassandra.
Yes.
Cassandra. I don't remember her last name.
She had a little boy, remember? Didn't she have a little baby and brought it on the road?
I don't know. When I knew why she didn't, but maybe she did and I didn't know.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
But fair-skinned, pretty girl. Yes, very pretty girl, Cassandra. Yes.
Wow.
No, they weren't. I mean, because in the companies, the companies weren't gigantic. So all of the companies, you had certain women and then you had certain men, and then they cloned them to go. There was a regional company, a national company, that when all of the first time I went to Los Angeles, I went with Voices.
With Voices? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because you got to remember, Voices was really the only Black repertory theater company. We had two things we did. You could pick between Journey into Blackness and Harlem Heyday.
Harlem Heyday. And it was something, I mean, it was, it really was. I didn't realize the gift of it as I was doing it. What the gift was to be able to really endure the scheduling, the training of that, the discipline of taking care of your voice, taking care of your body, all of that. I remember being in a couple of companies where I was captain, dance captain, movement captain, I would say, movement captain, and script captain, where everybody had to, because we could not be paraphrasing anything because you throw everybody off,
Right.
Remember what was it? I did a monologue, the monologue about the woman whose son was killed when he went to steal a pig.
That's from Journey into Blackness.
Journey into Blackness.
Second act.
Yes. And his family was hungry. And he stole a pig to feed his family, and I tear up now. I listened to that, and they lynched him.
Oh yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
woman
That
saw
was
her
a,
child lynched just because they needed food. They were sharecroppers and they didn't have food. And I remember one night I went into the scream that you do, and a woman in the audience screamed because her son had just died.
you know, it's what theater can do, and what, especially because we're telling our stories there. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
I mean, and people dismiss it, but
Right.
it is, I believe, the most genuine way of passing on the stories, and some of it is not they're not $1 million sets, and they're not, $1 million salaries. And we've all gone on to do
Right.
some other things that are beneficial, but that, I think, that was invaluable.
It
That
was.
was invaluable, and the people that you did it with, those memories are invaluable. You meet them on the street and you go, oh my God, you know, and all the memories just rush right back. So getting back now,
I'm about to
this,
leave you because I got an early day tomorrow. I'm booked.
France.
all right,
Wanted
well,
to, yeah, I
Thank
wanted
you,
to just
brother.
say hello. It's great to see you, Randy. I guess you have to see me at some point. As
Yeah, we
crazy
do
as
need to
we-
do that.
Yes, yes. That's it.
Okay.
You talk about still going out and house music all night long. See, I can't do that. But anyway,
Why not?
because my knees got old. I had to replace one of them.
Okay, but all right.
I have to go.
You
I
all
know
will
I'm
do it
not
one
out
more
like that
time. You'll do
anymore.
it one more time. You'll
I
do it.
used to go out with you and dance all night long.
Those garage.
Anyway,
Nah, I
real
don't.
talk.
I, I
Real
pick
talk.
and choose, baby.
All right.
But
Well,
I
let me
still want to
know
hear
when
that
you pick
music.
it, and perhaps I will choose.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you,
Take
Franz, for
care, guys.
stopping in.
It's
Good
great.
Thank you.
talking,
All
man.
Thank you
righty.
now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. Wow.
So now, Randy, okay, you're doing your national tour, you're doing Harlem Heyday, you're doing Journey into Blackness
Right.
a while, a couple of years. All right.
Right. Yeah.
What then what then was next for you? What was
After,
next?
um, I did actually, The Wiz was next.
Ah,
The Bus and Truck.
mm-hmm. Okay.
And that was my first equity job.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that was, show business is something else, because I had gone through the whole barrage of all the callbacks. And see, I just knew I had the gig. And back then you had to sit by the phone. There was no social media stuff.
No,
You had to sit by the
there was
phone.
no cell phones for you
No
to take
cell
it.
phones.
No,
If
but
you
sometimes you had the service. Remember that LT,
Well, you mean that beeper thing, but they weren't calling the
No,
beep.
no, the service. You would call the service.
Oh, yes.
Mhm,
Because that was the way you had to do things. But
mhm.
when you were waiting for that call back, you wouldn't let nobody touch the phone, get off of it, because if they trying to call me and it's gonna be, well, I'm sitting by the phone waiting for them to call me, and they didn't call me, and I'm like, it's like 1 in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, what happened? This is good. And then I get a call from the stage manager to tell me, why aren't you down here? I said, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be down here. Nobody called me. They forgot, someone missed my name on the list, told me to get down there as soon as I could. Of course, I flew. Okay. And I run up in there and they're like, oh, come on. And they didn't really have me do anything else, but they pulled me in to the main room with all George and all the producers and all of,
Mhm, mhm.
pulled me in and pulled in Lilius White.
Lilius.
And they told Lilius that they wanted her to join the company and that she was going to be the understudy for Dorothy, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was going to be the understudy for the Lion.
Okay.
And Lilius and I, that's when we became brother and sister.
Lilius.
Lilius and I jumping up and down, hugging each other, just as happy as, you know.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. I went to college. Lilius was at
With
Hunter
Lynnie?
with us.
Ah,
Yes, yes. Oh,
okay.
yes, Lilius, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so that started it. How long
Yeah.
did you were you all on tour?
We were on tour from like, we started in 78 and ended in 80. A year and
Wow,
almost a year and
wow. That's a
a
long time to be
year, a
on
little more
tour,
than a
but
year.
yeah, but that's
We
nice.
were out on
That's
the
nice.
road, baby. We was on
Yeah, I
bus and
hope you all had good monies. Good monies.
well, you, you know how show
I,
business is,
yes,
right?
I do. And also I know when you're young, sometimes folks don't know how to save their money. It's the way
Oh, oh, I'm not one of them, but you know,
because I'm not one of them. I still got my first dollar, probably.
baby, I'm still in the same place that I've been since 1980 when I got back from the Wiz. I still have the same phone number I've had since.
Well, I saw that 212. I went, oh,
Oh, I got a landline still. Isn't that old? I'm paying for a
no, I
landline.
have a landline
I
also.
want that
So,
212. Isn't that, you know, I
mhm.
don't know. It's so old school. Nobody cares about that. Okay. It used to mean something back in the
It
day.
did. It did back in the day. Back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that bus and truck, we had an incredible cast.
Oh,
We
yes,
we were
yes.
sad. We were George
But
Faison,
to have gone that long, it was a successful tour.
and
It
they
was
had us in every podunk town throughout America. Okay.
God. Oh God.
We were
Oh
killing it.
gosh. Mm,
Okay.
Randy. All right. So you came back, you did theater, but
Mm,
now you're I remember I was so glad when I saw that you were on Facebook. I remember the first
yeah.
time I saw you on Facebook and you would talk about your mother.
Oh yeah. My
Yeah,
mother's special. I love my mama,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And yeah, she was a card, baby.
Hmm. Hmm.
She yeah. You know, you only get one.
Only get one.
You only
Only
get
get one.
one.
I tell young people when they fall out, I say, that's your mother now. There
Yeah.
will be no one like that.
No, not
If
this
you're lucky,
me
you
like that.
may get somebody close. You
Right.
may get some, that's a blessing. You may get
Yeah.
somebody close, but
Right. Right. But no, yeah.
hmm, hmm, yeah.
Um,
Now, so how did the business of catering
how did
come
that
about?
start?
Mhm.
I've always loved to cook.
Yes, I do remember that.
Now, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, but when we were out on the road with that dang voices, we carried a electric fry pan with,
I remember.
and we were cooking those This is so 1930.
I
It
remember
sounds like,
going in, I remember going smelling food. I'm like, what
we were
who's
cooking.
cooking?
We
Who's
cooked.
cooking? Oh yes. Hmm. Yeah.
Bernice would cook. I would cook.
Hmm.
We all cooked because
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
were just artists out there.
Well, but also, it was better food than that was being offered
Yeah.
us.
And
I
you
mean,
don't,
the
you did
fast foods and all of those things were not that
no,
healthy for you, even back in
not
the
at
day.
all.
But not that the food that y'all were cooking was that healthy, because y'all were cooking deep fried.
No, no, one pot things. Throw it all in that fret pan and cook it up.
Yeah.
Okay, it was good.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, yes.
But food has always been my grandmother was a huge influence on me. She
Mhm,
could cook.
mhm,
My grandmother's from Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
mhm,
She is one of the guiding forces in my spirit. She was a tough woman, you know, and could cook. Oh my God. I can remember one time when I was a kid, we were in Wynnewood, Oklahoma, and it sounds just the way you think it does. Red clay, it's oil
mm,
country, hot
mhm,
as hell. You know, my grandmother was one of the like three blacks that had what I considered a house.
mhm,
Yeah, I'm from up north.
mhm,
And
mhm.
down there, they just had shotguns on cinder blocks. That was the house.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, no running water. And, you know, my grandmother had electricity and water, you know, along with three other blacks. One was Miss Goodman. Miss Goodman used to run moonshine. That's why she had a house. you know. And my grandmama, her sons built her house.
Mm.
So yeah, that's where I would go. Wynniewood, Oklahoma, and I get in trouble. I'm a northern boy, and I would pick up the phone at my grandmother's house, and they have a horrible accent in Oklahoma. I hope don't offend nobody too much in Oklahoma, but that little twang is bad in Oklahoma. And some white woman come on the phone, said, "I want to speak to Miss Mabel." And I said, "Are you referring to my grandmother?" "Well, baby, my grandmother hit me in the back of the head."
All of us from the north, when we went south all of us, we weren't used to that protocol. We were
Right.
not. I think
No.
all of us I had lessons to learn also. I had lessons to learn before I started a riot in Florida. So
Yes.
I almost started a riot. I was like, and there was no ma'am. I would say yes, thank
Oh
you.
no. Oh
I
no.
wasn't, it wasn't a ma'am.
Oh
And
no,
they
I
were
knew
waiting
that.
for it. And I was
Oh no.
like, I'd like to say, what you waiting on?
Oh no, 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 no. I knew that, baby. Yes,
I wasn't
ma'am.
doing the ma'am.
No,
I
ma'am.
wasn't
Yes,
doing.
sir. No, I'm
Yes,
talking to anybody.
yes, I would say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am to my grandmother's friends. But
Oh, okay.
I would be
Oh,
rebellious to say it in a store. I'd
yeah.
say thank you.
Yeah. I used to get in trouble when I went down there.
Yes, I would too.
I would
But
have a
yes,
bunch of little
yes.
friends that I had that were my age. We'd go down to their little one. They had one street downtown Wynniewood. It had a pool hall, a liquor store, a post office, and a little drugstore with a fountain at it where you get some cherry cokes.
Mhm.
Well, I'm from up north. We don't. We just. I went and set my little butt down at the counter and asked for my little cherry coke. And my other little friends were at the door going, "No, no, you can't get it. Come on." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I got my cherry coke because they knew I was from out of town. And they knew I was Miss Mabel's grandson who don't know better.
Doesn't know anything better. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But hey.
Well, yes. I mean, I do remember, going there and wanting to just buy something and
Right.
being, and saying yes. Oh, I'd like, hello, and they go, hello, 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 and I'd say, now may I be able to see in my best little model Barbizon modeling voice,
Thank you.
yes, giving grandness, and
Eastern Standard English.
yes, and then they'd say, "You're not from down here, are you?"
Ooh.
And I'd say, "No, I'm not. No, I'm
No,
not.
not.
No." It was an experience.
Yeah.
I did not experience being from the North. I did not experience some of the segregation that was practiced.
Down there,
Um,
no.
no, and is still practiced
Oh yeah.
down there. I have a family that's there,
They
and
still have those towns, sundown towns.
they
They still have them.
they
This
just
is America, you know.
yes.
Okay. But my
You know,
grandmother, she's the one who gave me the love for cooking.
And so what did you do with it? We're going to go over everyone. You're realizing we're probably going to go over the hour a little bit now.
Oh,
Okay. But
yes, we are.
I don't want
Sorry.
to hold you too long. But I want to get to when you decided to make this into a choice of one of the careers that you honor and practice.
Baby, I got tired of being broke. Show business can make you broke sometimes. And I've always worked in kitchens. I've always worked at restaurants. I've been bartenders. I've run restaurants. I've managed restaurants and all that stuff. I've worked with all the caterers back then. Norma Darden, I used to be her. I used to
Yes.
do all her contracts. I'd put on an apron and help prep with her. And then I'd
Mhm.
go carry the food to the venue and then take that off and put a waiter's thing on and and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I can do this.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the thing is, but with catering, you just have to have clients.
Yes.
and you have to be able to grow and nurture clients. And if you can do that, you know,
But
because any business
that
in New
came
York
from
is hard.
your college days when you convinced everybody that you could run all of those. And what's very interesting, just now when you started talking about the business, your whole voice timbre changed.
Uh,
When you talk about show business, you're a little lighter and but when you talk about that and clients, you went all the way down. The importance of that, it just
yeah,
tells me, where that took you, really, as far as really establishing a business, a reliable business for you to have a life.
yeah,
And don't you think that when we are in show business, that that's one of the considerations that we really should take into, that there is a duality, that we must, whether it's something else that's in
right.
show business, whether you're stage managing, performing, whether you're directing and performing, whether you're performing and designing,
Mm-hmm.
or designing and stage managing, that you're aware that there is a need for another talent skill, so that you can have that equal citizenry with everybody else.
Exactly. And you have to be able to figure that out in show business.
Yes.
You
Yes.
really do.
Yeah.
Because,
Or homelessness really becomes a major factor for it.
and that can happen to any and all of us.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
has
It
for
has.
many. Mm-hmm.
It has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just with healthcare, as we get older, we have to really be cognizant of how we are going to survive and
Exactly.
live
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with some respect and dignity. Because
Yeah.
you know, they can be rough on you out here, baby.
Yes, it can. Would you say that you are, what would let me say, you are a soldier in this business? You are a journeyman, a warrior in this business?
You know, I think so, because yes, you have to be. In any business you're going to do, if you're passionate about it, you have to be a warrior about it. You have to fight for it. You have to
Relentless,
desperately,
be relentless.
because having a business in New York City is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with taxes and the IRS and the Labor Department and everything else that you have to, insurance and all those things, and those things are astronomical,
Yes, they are.
and they have to be in place, because you can't think that you can run some bootleg thing and not think you're going to get caught.
Mm-hmm. No, you really do have to do it on the side of legality,
You got
so
to
that
be
you can
straight
have
up with it.
longevity. Otherwise, your longevity will be spent in some cell somewhere.
All right.
You
Or
know.
out on the street.
Yes.
It didn't work again.
Let me ask you, so with your education that you got from performance, and then your relentlessness and everything about the catering, did that help you with your mentorship whenever you were then working with young people? Did
Oh, no.
that spill over?
Can I just, you know, there's one thing I really want to talk about. When I worked for the Parks Department, there was this program that I ran with this close friend of mine. We're still close friends, Ying Goodson. We ran this program called the Mini Circus. And it was located way out there at Willets Point in the park there. And we had one of those big Winnebagos, one of those big trucks that the side falls down and you add a stage onto it. And we had a busload of little kids, that were not little kids, but they were between like 13 and 18. And all of them were from group homes, or, you know, that kind of kids that they thought were bad kids or tough kids and stuff, in the beginning of the summer. And
Mhm.
our task was to pull together a show, a musical, that we would go to parks twice a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, all summer long, with these kids that perform. It was in the beginning of the summer. I get all these little badass little kids and all that, and didn't want to do this. I'm not putting that on. I'm not doing that. That's a bum, 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 bum. By the end of the summer, they would be crying because they didn't want to leave. Because I could watch these little kids go from this chaos to understanding there's another world out here. It really is. Because I used to tell them, listen, you see this hand here? You see here? See all this room we got in here? As long as you stay within here, we're good. You step out of here, I'm gonna fuck you up, okay? And they learned I was serious. And there was a lot of room in there. We had a great time. I love that stuff because I could see things. I could see children change, young people change.
Have you run into any of them over the years?
I have.
Oh.
They run up on me because they were little. Now
Yeah,
they're
so now
in
you,
their 30s and stuff
yeah.
and run up on you.
Yeah.
And I'm still close with some of the people that were the leaders in that group. Like one of my babies is Tessa Martin. She's a young actress and still is and doing her own one-man woman thing. And she and Ying Goodson and a lot of other people that were part of that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, you know, I have been blessed with is when I make friends, I keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's.
But it's a blessing on you. Let me just say that you are the kind of person that people want to keep you as a friend.
Well,
you're not just doing the keeping, that people want to keep you.
Well, it's a two-way street with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
it's just it's an incredible. I think about, first of all, I think about the passage of time, where we were, what the fashions were, what, you know. Woo! I look at some of the pictures and I go, oh my God, did we really put that on?
I sure am glad spandex is gone.
But I'm so grateful that I got a chance to do those things, to be with those people. As I said earlier, Christopher Rang, someone so wonderful, so talented, so young. He was a baby and I was a baby at the same time.
We were.
To be a baby and to be in an era where there were opportunities, different kinds of opportunities. And this will be the last part of this. I know that we're going over the hour, everyone, but I think that you really, I want to ask you, Randy, where do you think we are going? Because when we were there, when we were coming in, their opportunities were a little different. There are Black performers in theater now. They're spattering here and there, but the theater that we entered into, it made Black stars. You know, Vivian Reed.
Okay.
Just brilliant. I love it. You know, those kinds of people being on the stage with Maurice and Gregory and Leslie Dockery and, you know, I mean,
yes,
you know,
me.
Yeah, all of these brilliant performers, Ethel Beatty and Terry Burrell, and all of them, you know, Jeffrey Thompson, Lonnie McNeil, God bless him, you know,
God bless him.
Sharing that stage, working. My first equity job was, I was a swing in a show called I Paid My Dues, and the star was Joe Morton. And Joe, I learned so much. All of those opportunities to have those kinds of stars around you, being around Yubi, being around Normally, or being around all, is that something that these young people have? Have we created something that they can go to as a reference point, or do we need to work on it? Where do you think we are?
Sometimes I think that when we were coming up, there were places like Clark Center.
Yes.
Where, you know, BJ's, which was out in Queens, she groomed a lot of people. Michael Peters and all those folks came out of there. Ben Vereen, and you know that she groomed a whole bunch of folks. That those kids, those fierce dancers from that. There are very few places where the kids can go and get that kind of training.
Yeah.
Remember, Clark Center.
Camaraderie also. I mean, it's competitive. Everybody wants the job, but there is a camaraderie that you have. That, you know, if you didn't get it, you go and see the person who got it and went, okay, they turned that out. You know, do you feel that sense there, or are they missing that because they don't have the Clark Center, they don't have the BJs, they don't have those shows that fostered that, because we were in that together and surviving and working so hard.
You know, it kind of goes to the state of Black theater too. I'm not to say that I'm trying to, but a lot of what I did was through Black theater, like Woody King and all those things that I did with, you know, those things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of those programs and the funding has gone.
Has gone. It's like segregation, you know, and integration. When the programs came, when the situation came where there was non-traditional, or there was an opening, they said, where everybody can do everything. The entities that supported us in our society, in the culture, in civil rights, those entities died because we went and did not keep that connection. I believe it's the same kind of thing that has happened in theater. There, the Voices Incorporated dies. Those, they die. They die. You know. Yeah. You know,
and that's it. But then too, I see the young folks, as far as film, and they're taking it in another way.
They do. It's another era for them. It's another time.
It's another time for them, and they're not so apologetic as we were. Okay, which I'm glad to see. Right? I like being unapologetic. Okay?
Yes.
Then we can still tell some real stories.
We're hoping, that's what I'm hoping the future will bring, that the stories will be real, uncompromising.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like I've been very blessed, you know, I've been very blessed in my life. And the opportunities, though, that I picked and chose were to work with people who did not make me compromise my principles.
Exactly.
You know, the offers were there, but sometimes people can do those things better than I can, and then they can't do the things that I can do.
Okay, know your worth, baby. Yeah. Always know your worth.
Yeah, you know, and I want the principles to be there. I want the stories to be there for us. I want so much. I want the inclusion. I want everyone to be at the table. It's important that it's not a white table or a Black table or an Asian table or a Hispanic, a Latino table. It's a table where we're all there. People who have a need for accessibilities, they're there. People who, you know, are underserved, they're there. Women are there. Black women are there. Then that's two different entities. The women issues and the Black women issues are very different. And do not get fooled by thinking that, you know, one has solved the other, but it has. You know, it's just been going down the memory lane of what was and how our growth was and where we are now and where, you know, who and what I represent now when I go into a room. It's heavy laden sometimes. It's heavy laden. It's not lighter. It hasn't gotten lighter, no.
Well, you know, remember that one line, "Life ain't been no crystal stair"? That whole speech.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You know, I wonder where we'll be in 5 years. I just wonder.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
But we'll be here to see.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And with that, everyone, I really have to tell you, this is my friend Randy. And it was so magnificent seeing you walk down that aisle and went, I saw you before you saw me.
I'm right.
I said, Randy Flood.
I said, what?
Who's that? Who's that?
Yes. And that was a wonderful show.
Oh, it was fabulous. But
I love
you know,
the second
again,
act.
what they did to the show, what they brought to it, through all of the crisis and everything else that went while that show was going on.
Right.
You know, the blessings to them, the blessings
Mhm.
to them forever. And I really think that, you know, I came because I studied with Mamie
Ah.
Duncan Gibbs, and she is a force to be reckoned. And when you know, I don't usually go out and do a whole lot of that because, you know, I'm particular about what I do and what I see, and
I
you know,
understand that.
and I wasn't disappointed. I sat next to a couple who have been following the lead, the young man who was the lead there for many years, and I said, he's very good.
He was
He's
very
good.
good.
He was very good, and he's going to get better and better each time.
Right.
I
Right.
believe he was in, oh, I can't, it's not
Right. I
Jekyll
did.
and Hyde. It's the other one that uh, Angela Lansbury did.
Oh,
Um,
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd. I believe he was in Sweeney Todd.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and they were a little disappointed that I didn't go over the moon. I said, but you must understand. I I saw this with Gregory.
Right. That's a whole.
That's it's there's no more words.
Right.
No
Right.
more words. So
That.
but the talent was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Incredible all the way through every single person. It was
I
wonderful.
loved it. I loved it.
Mhm.
And I love the way they handled the blackface. They didn't do blackface this time, which I was
That did.
really glad about.
I was very glad about it also. I was
Okay.
glad about it
'Cause it
also.
was a little disturbing the last time.
Yeah, it just wasn't what I wanted to see, and it wasn't the story
No.
I wanted to tell. You know, when
Right.
people ask me about things, what do you want to do? I said, there's certain stories I want to tell. There's certain stories
Mhm.
that need to be told that
Right.
women who look like me didn't get a chance because it wasn't that you know, that time for it. I said,
Right.
well, maybe before I leave here, I get an opportunity to do those kinds of things. And this is one of the things that I adore doing. This archived forever
That's
here.
great. I mean, I've enjoyed myself if you haven't noticed.
But I've enjoyed your being here. And I've enjoyed everyone who will watch this. Please just know that this came about because we couldn't do the regular radio program, but maybe that there was a reason for that. So thank you, Randy, for that.
Thank you, baby.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for taking the time, for being you, for bringing up the names that we hadn't said and hadn't
Now
heard
that's,
in a long
yes,
time. That
yes.
was it. So I'm going to say goodbye to my audience, but you hold on for a second, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is Lynnie Godfrey, Straight No Chaser, without Blog Talk Radio. This is the way it would be if it were a webinar. Maybe it will be like that one day. We'll see. But thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to the stories, for listening to our journey. We bless those whose names we have said tonight who are not here. And we bless those whose names we still can call and they can answer us. And glad to know it. We wish them all well. Thank you for looking and listening. And I'll see you on the radio because Lloyd Richards' son, Scott Davenport Richards, will be here next week. And so we'll talk about the next dynasty of theater in the Richards family. I believe. I believe there's brilliance. Please talk to you soon, and I'll see you on the radio. Bye-bye.